This is Mike.
Hola.
He flew more than 2,000 miles from Long Island, New York to Mexico City with one goal in mind: to learn Spanish with the most handsome and humble teacher on the planet. That's right, it's me, you guessed it. My goal? Teach Mike confident conversational Spanish in 30 days, and if I don't, he'll have flown out to Mexico City for absolutely nothing, and therefore I'll have failed him as a teacher, and he'll probably end up hating my guts. For our first lesson, we meet up at one of my favorite coffee shops. He walks in the door, I give him a hug, and we take a seat. You see, the only thing I care about is teaching Mike Spanish as fast as possible using my very special method. We start chatting, and he tells me how he's a world traveler, doesn't feel super confident speaking Spanish, but I'm not gonna lie. As Mike is telling me all of this, I'm thinking to myself, can I really teach him conversational Spanish in 30 days? At this point, the guy's been learning Spanish for like 3 months. What if he feels cheated or like he's barely learned any Spanish by the end of our program? Obviously, I want him to succeed. So much so that I make him order my own latte in fluent, full-blown Spanish, which results in a flustered and blushing barista. I'll consider that our first win. And that could be your first win too, but only if you go to SpanishWith8.com. No, wait, that's amazing. SpanishWith8.com. After ordering my coffee and making Latina fall in love with his cafe ordering skills, we start our lesson. We begin by speaking completely in Spanish, and while we have a few stumbles, Mike and I have a conversation completely in Spanish for 45 minutes. He looks me dead in the eyes, a huge smile on his face, and he says, "Nate, this is the longest conversation in Spanish I have ever had." Órale, I think to myself. We can do this. We finish our lesson, go order some tacos de canasta off the street, and of course, I have Mike order for me again in Spanish, tres de frijol, por favor, and the taqueros give Mike their Mexico City recommendations. All in Spanish. This is amazing. Mike is speaking with native speakers on the streets of Mexico City after just our first lesson together. And maybe he's a little nervous, but he seems confident and he's laughing, seems like he's having fun. The coolest thing is he's really connecting with these guys, even though he's not at an advanced level of Spanish yet. But then a few days later, Mike calls me and says he needs help. He feels like he knows zero Spanish. People are speaking to him and he can't understand anything at all. He's nervous when talking to people and he's just doubting that this whole thing is even going to work. I tell him it's all good as I silently freak out. I tell him, hey, we all have days like this as language learners. Trust the process. We have our next lesson. He orders our coffees. The barista blushes. We speak Spanish. And then we get tacos. This time, fish tacos. We chat with the vendors. We laugh. As the weeks pass by, it stops being so much about our formal lessons. We're learning a lot, like when to use ser versus estar, the predicate versus the imperfect, or even the subjunctive. But we're also doing a lot of learning out on the street, speaking Spanish in the real world. And at this point, Mike is constantly shouting out, "No manches, way!" He's been struggling these first couple of weeks, but I start seeing a change in him. He seems lighter. He seems like he's enjoying himself. You can tell he's not taking it too seriously, and he's not too nervous when speaking with people. At this point, we're having so much fun together that we start hanging out outside of our formal lessons as well. We watch the Super Bowl. We talk about our travels, regrets, future hopes, and dreams. I won't lie, we're speaking quite a bit of English, but we're also practicing our Spanish as well. It's awesome. We hike up Los Dinamos, this amazing mountain range in Mexico City, with my Venezuelan friend Ronald. He teaches Mike funny phrases from his country and a few words I can't say in this video. We see the most incredible view of Popocatépetl and We eat ice cream. We chat with locals at a fonda. We explore the neighborhood of Coyoacán, and Mike tries his first ever chapulín. Okay, a ver si le gusta. Okay, go for it. Try it, bro. First chapulín.
This is actually not bad.
He sees an ajolote after I convince the store owner to take us into his house where it's secretly hidden. Don't ask how I knew that it was there. We watch a movie in Japanese with Spanish subtitles at La Cineteca Nacional, the most incredible movie theater you've ever seen in your life. We dine in the dark. It was cute, I'd like to think our bromance really blossomed here. We go to Tolantongo, located in the state of Hidalgo, which was a first for both of us. We meet really nice people from Arizona and hang out in natural hot springs with them. At the end of the month, Mike and I sit down for our final lesson in his favorite coffee shop, where he has his own loyalty card, of course. We start by speaking in Spanish, and we do so for an entire hour. He's looking 10 times more confident. This man is glowing. I realize that while he may feel intimidated sometimes when speaking with new native speakers, which honestly still happens to me sometimes, and I've been speaking Spanish for 10 years now, I realize that Mike is comfortable navigating the language. The Spanish is just flowing out of his mouth, no problem, and I see that he's relaxed. I sit back. We did it. Mike is speaking confident conversational Spanish after just 30 days. I kind of can't believe it, but I'm really happy. And most importantly, Mike is happy. But then a few days go by and I have a realization. We're out with friends speaking Spanish and English, and we're teaching Mike lots of new jokes and swears in Espanol, as good friends naturally do. We spend hours together laughing, eating, and sharing stories. And at the end of the night, it's time for all of us to say adios to Mike. It's a tougher goodbye than I had expected it to be. We had become more than just teacher and student throughout the month. We had become sensei and disciple. Okay, I'm just kidding. I just thought that was funny and would sound dramatic. We had become even more than sensei and disciple. We had become friends. And honestly, Mike and I are more than just friends. Mike and I are homies. Can we please spam Mikey in the comments? We gotta show Mike some love. Mike waves goodbye, walks in his apartment, and as he goes in the door, I realize that it's not about where you learn Spanish or how fast you learn or what method you use. It's about connecting with people in a sincere, honest, and vulnerable way that you just wouldn't be able to do if you didn't at least try learning the language. It's about creating memories with new friends from different backgrounds, no matter what level of Spanish you have.
I really enjoyed our lessons because you obviously speak English, native English speaker, and learned the grammar, so you're able to explain things in a really coherent way, and so I think that helped. But yeah, besides the language learning, I mean, we went on several trips. I met a bunch of your friends. Those connections were also really fun to make, and so it was like beyond the language learning. It was really fun. I'm glad we got to do them in person. The most important thing I think for language learning is having fun with it, and that's something. If you go back and watch any of your videos when you're interacting with people while speaking, you are laughing the entire time, like almost consistently through the videos. That actually is something that I picked up from you, which is like, this should be fun. It is fun, and that makes it so much easier to learn, and then obviously more fun. This isn't supposed to be like, difficult process. Like, this should be fun, and that will improve your learning a lot. Gracias por ver el video.
I'm so bad at dancing, bro. Spanish. This is the Spanish dance. Spanish dance. Spanish dance. Spanish dance. Spanish dance.